Top of the morning, Raider Nation. It's Broncos week, man. We got our hard hat on today, man. We're going to work. We got the 2002 hard hat from the good times, man. That's when we used to rock hard hats at games, man. So I got a question. If you've been to Allegiant Stadium, do they let you wear hard hats like they did in Oakland, like in Networks Associates Coliseum back in the day when we were there when the AFC West was won? You know, like I said, we got a key AFC West matchup. I personally think the Raiders are the better team on paper. We'll get into the notes later, but give me your thoughts, man. I mean, I think the biggest X factor in this game is going to be Sean Payton versus Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is going to have to get this team off to a good start. We did not get off to a good start last year. 0-3 was bad, and it did not lead to good things. And we rode a 4-game losing streak till the end of the season. So we got to snap a 4-game losing streak in this game. But before I get started, hey, Dad, man, you got me this hat back in 2002. I wanted to thank you. I've kept it clean. I have 2 Raider hard hats. One I took to the games and one I took to the job sites. And that hard hat's all gummed up. It's in the garage collecting dust, and I throw it on when I'm working and all that. But today we went clean. We pulled this one right out the Raider locker. And just so anybody wants to know a funny story, I have a Raiders locker behind the green screen. I got it I think it was 7 years ago. I traded my wife's 10-inch subwoofers in the back of her Honda Civic, dude, to get that locker. That's a story. Yes, I did lose value, but I got a Raiders locker. Hey, it's still a funny story. My wife still, to this day, will be like, I can't believe you traded my 10s out of my freaking trunk of my car. And I think, oh man, I'm spacing on brand name on, but there were some kicker, there were some kicker speakers and all that in the trunk of her car. We like to bump our music, you know what I mean? We live in Southern California. Sometimes we play our music loud. The community's real active, and we like to fire up the grill. We get pumped up for Raider football, man. So anyway, we got some notes going into our game preview. The game preview will be published Thursday or Friday. That's going to lead up to the game. But today we're just going to talk some notes that are going to lead into that. And we'll follow up also. We're going to do a quarterback segment on Jimmy Garoppolo on embattled QBs. I think it's going to be a real good one. It's still in the process. But how the Raiders are successful with embattled QBs. So things will line up for Jimmy Garoppolo and this offense, because there's already some saying they're already thinking Aiden O'Connell is going to be the starter. We're hoping that's not rushed in. We're hoping that Jimmy G can lead this team for some time, man, as this team grows and gets better. So give me your thoughts in the comments, man. Are they going to let me wear this hard hat when I go to games at Allegiant Stadium this year? And are the Raiders a better team on paper than the Denver Broncos leading into this game? I'll catch you in the notes here. Here we have it, AFC West matchup. It's Broncos week. And the Raiders versus the Broncos in season openers and the last 3 outcomes. You know, we have a rich history with the Broncos. I'm not going to go throughout the 70s and the 80s. It's pointless, man. We can relive that. You know, that's off-season stuff. Let's relive the last 3 season openers, man. I remember these games clearly. You have 2019, the Broncos at the Raiders. The Raiders get the victory, 24-16. Josh Jacobs' rookie debut, man. He scores 2 touchdowns. I remember doing the show right after that. Exciting time. You had the Dwayne Harris 99-yard punt return on a miraculous play by scooping up the untouched football at the 1-yard line. You guys remember that? A veteran move. He said, and the crazy thing about that is he was waiting for a play like that to develop. He was kind of studying things on film, and the crazy thing is he found his way, man, and that was a key part to us getting a victory there, catching the Broncos off guard. You got the 2011 team, man, Jason Campbell era. The Raiders, they beat the Broncos 23-20. And Sebastian Janikowski, man, remember he tied the record-long field goal forever, man. The half-footed kicker from the Saints. That was Todd Dempsey, I believe. He had the 63-yard field goal forever, and then Jason Elam tied it like in the early 2000s, and Sebastian Janikowski followed up in 2011 before the half. So one other quick note on Sebastian Janikowski. He is Hall of Fame eligible in the year of 2024, so keep an eye on that. Also, Shane Leckler, he added a 77-yard punt in the 4th quarter. That was another key note there. Now, 2008, this is a foul taste right here. The Broncos at the Raiders, they get blown out 41-14. Eddie Royal, rookie debut, 9-catch game. I could be wrong. I'm torching D'Angelo Hall. Not much else to recall other than Jamarcus Russell was a starting quarterback that night, and I was at that game. It sucked. Sat on Al Davis Mountain. The only thing I remember from that game was Bronco fans, the few Bronco fans that were sitting next to us when they got up to get beers, they got shoulder checked and half their beers were missing by the time they sit down. That's all I remember. Not condoning of stuff like that, but it was good fun. The Bronco fans were actually having fun with us that night, but they did. I watched these guys literally trying to carry 2 beers at a time. and Raider fans were just bumping them a little bit. They were just roughing them up like the ship was rocking. It was rough waters that night on the Raiders ship, man. So Bronco fans, by the time they'd buy their beer and get back to their seats, half of their beer was missing. But hey, everybody got along just fine. So now let's get into some Denver Bronco notes. The Broncos, they have an NFL best .656 in winning percentage in season openers. That's pretty good. They're well above 500, man. We want to give that percentage there a haircut come week 1. They are also 40-21 and 1 tie all time. They are 18-2 in their last 20 openers at home. So just in general, week 1, week 2, they are 18-2 in their last 20 at home. The Broncos have won 4 straight and 4 out of 5 in their last season openers since 2019. Going back to that Raider game that we brought up earlier, Josh Jacobs had his way in that game. Sean Payton coach teams historically do better in the second half of the season. That's just a little side note on Sean Payton. Maybe they get off to a rough start, but they've historically have gotten better as the season went on. In 2022, the Broncos lost 8 games by 1 score. You know, and this is the NFL. That's one thing. It's crazy, man. This league, it does have parity. This league changes. That's why I always say believe in the team, man, because we're all close, man. We're all close. And we'll get to some Raider notes and you'll see it line up. But everything in the NFL just comes down to the last final 2 minutes of the game. And you saw it in the Super Bowl, man. One bad call changed it. You know, one little holding call, you know, which was questionable to a certain degree, changed the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs basically ran out time and got the win. And you saw it against the Bengals the week before, or a couple weeks before in the AFC Championship game. These things come down to bad calls, game of inches, and lots of parity in the league. So once again, I believe in our teams. And so let's get into the Las Vegas Raiders. Their week 1 record is 28-33. They're below 500, man, with a .459 winning percentage. And in 2022, the Raiders lost 9 games by 1 score. Remember, we had a couple blowouts, got blown out by the Chiefs. That's what we can't have. We can't have blowouts. That's bad. But the Raiders, they have lost 9 games by 1 score. And you remember the Niners, that game went into overtime. You know, all of the second half leads that the Raiders had, 2-score leads. And they still blew those games, man. Did not make the proper adjustments at halftime. And the Raiders were exposed. So the Raiders, they are 36-28 versus the Broncos on the road. So that's a pretty good road record right there, man. So I'm banking on that. And as mentioned earlier, the Raiders are going to need to snap a 4-game losing streak. You know, that goes back to the Rams game they should have won. The Steelers game, I mean, the Steelers gave them every opportunity to win that game on the road. On the road on a Saturday night in the snow. That was Derek Carr's last game, you know, finishing that game with an interception. Now, the Raiders, they do have a 6-game winning streak versus the Broncos. They are 2-8 in their last 10 games versus the Raiders, dating back to 2018. And going back, you think about that Keith Smith. I believe it was Keith Smith when they tried to roll out on a 4th and 1 and get him. He was wide open for a touchdown, basically. And he dropped the pass on a 4th and 1, man, which led to Denver going down the field, I believe, and getting a game-winning field goal to beat us in that game by a point. So that was a tough loss. I mean, this could easily be 1-9. And then you go to the Alec Ingold goal line one in Denver. I believe that was 2019, maybe the end of 2018, or I can't remember. It was like 2019. And you had Alec Ingold, who was called short when the replay clearly showed he broke the plane. However, even rewinding before that, my biggest beef in that game was Derek Carr missing Hunter Renfrow on a double move wide open. Hunter Renfrow in the red zone was wide open for a touchdown, and Derek had the happy feet. Let's just call it what it is. Derek had the happy feet and zipped the ball past him. They could have won that game. This could be a 10-game winning streak, man. So just those little things that can change a game, man. The Raiders are right there, and they do have the Broncos number right now. So we want to ride this thing into the 2023 season opener, man, and become 1-0. So right here, key area of focus, we have Josh McDaniel, which I think is the X factor for the Raiders, versus Sean Payton. Sean Payton, who pulled a stunt similar to Josh McDaniels when he did not take the interview for the Raiders coaching position. That was the second interview, my bad. But the first interview, I believe it was like cold McDonald's hamburgers and coleslaw or whatever. But remember, he was on the plane and they were going back. It looked like they were going to sign a deal, and I guess they turned the plane around. I guess Bill Parcells talked. There's all these rumors, but whatever. No matter what, just Josh McDaniels pulled the stunt with the Colts, and you have Sean Payton who pulled the stunt with the Raiders, but Sean Payton became a successful coach for the Saints and won a Super Bowl, man. We want Josh McDaniels to do the same. So in 16 seasons, he has 152 victories and 89 losses, 0 ties, and he is 8-8 overall in season openers. He's 5-2 at home. Sean Payton coached teams historically to do better in the second half of the season, as brought up earlier. Josh McDaniels is 1-2 in season openers, and he is 17 wins, 28 losses overall, and he has a .353 winning percentage through 45 games. That needs to get better. We got to get above 500. I'm going to say it right now. Josh McDaniels, you're looking at, you need a 11-win season, you need a double-digit win season. And hey, why not? Why put the bar at 10? Let's go for 11 victories in 2023. So McDaniel's game runs to the quarterback using pre-snap reads, and I misspelled it there, so I'll fix that. McDaniels is a known play caller and is very patient in putting together a game plan. This is all stuff that I've done through the New England Patriots and stuff like that. So, his history with working with quarterbacks, his approach, everything. Not going by what he's saying now. I'm going by what has been proven with McDaniels when he coached and when he was successful with the Patriots. I mean, that's just that's what got him a head coaching gig to begin with in the NFL. So we got to go with his strengths. Now, McDaniels doesn't swear at players. He takes a positive approach and makes good decisions in channeling emotions in a productive way. That's one thing I read about him. He does cuss. He does say things to certain players. He probably doesn't get along with certain players. There's always going to be a character issue with certain people. We're gonna look at the positive side of McDaniels, though. It looks like he's trying to be patient. This is all of the process that he went through after his head coaching gig in Denver. So basically what I'm coming out and what I came out with is the Raiders coach is focused on winning now, and this is a must-win season. So, and it is, man. He is on the hot seat. I believe he is a 6-1 favorite to be fired this year. Let's throw that out. That they do that every year. I don't think some of that is all real. I mean, he would have to go 0-7 to get fired, I think, or 0-5 would probably get those talks started, and then by the time you go 0-6, 0-7, he's fired. But I don't see that happening, man. And I don't want to think like that's going to happen, man. We live in the now. I don't like it when people look too far down the road. Well, we're going to have to wait a couple years until Josh McDaniel's not our coach to win. No, we're living our lives right now, man. Let's get this, man. Let's be optimistic, man. Let's live for the now. Let's live for today. So let's get into Davante Adams and Patrick Surtain. You already know. Davante called him out last year. Davante caught the game-winning 35-yard touchdown pass in the last matchup, and that was a Raiders victory, man. So now Adams finished in that game 7 catches, 141 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's on 13 targets. In both games combined, he had 18 catches, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns on 26 targets. Derek Carr was zoned in on him. Derek Carr fed him the ball. And Derek Carr was heavily depending on Davante Adams. So we're going to see how this goes in the next matchup with Jimmy Garoppolo, how they distribute the football. Curious to see how that works out. Now the Broncos, they've had one of the better secondaries in 2022. You have rookie cornerback Damari Mathis. He had 65 tackles, 7 pass deflections. So a couple keynotes there for Denver's secondary. And then already the number one corner they have is Patrick Surtain II, and he is good. These cornerbacks that come up, his dad played in the NFL. These guys like Asante Samuel Jr., they stand out in the NFL, and they are known. But Patrick Surtain is the real deal. And, we'll see if his game improved when he faces Davante Adams for the third time. So Josh McDaniels versus the Broncos defense. Now, Josh Jacobs, once this is published on Friday, you can click on that and you'll be able to get all of Josh Jacobs' stats, versus the Broncos or anything you want to look through. That's on StatMuse there. So he has posted 721 yards and 9 touchdowns through 7 games, averaging 4.7 yards per carry. That's solid. That's good. Josh Jacobs has great games versus the Broncos. He steps up his game. He's had multiple touchdown games versus the Broncos, including one of the matchups we played in Las Vegas last year. Now, you have the Raiders defense on the road versus Russell Wilson. The Raiders defense had 10 quarterback hits on Wilson in the last game in Denver and a forced fumble. That was Max Crosby with the forced fumble. He had 3 quarterback hits and the forced fumble. So that leads me to Blyle Nichols being a big factor possibly in this game. The last game, man, in Denver, he had 2 QB hits. And on one play, he did put him on the ground, man. Russell Wilson barely got the pass off. It was a wobbly check down to Melvin Gordon. He had to run back to the pass to get it. But, he pile-drived him into the ground. It was perfect timing. And you just saw a couple good bull rushes come from Blyle Nichols in that game. So I'm wondering what his game's going to be like in this second match, or in this second time around in Denver, because it looked like he was getting a push. And I'm curious if he continues that effort in week 1. So last, I'm going to focus on special teams, Daniel Carlson's leg and the altitude. Now, aside from that, let's just say this when it comes to Daniel Carlson. He is the best kicker in the league, next to Justin Tucker. And I'm going to leave it at that. And then down below here, we have some game notes. You have the Raiders looking to win their 7th straight game versus the Broncos. Have the announcers list. It's going to be Tom McCarthy as a play-by-play, and James Lofton and Jay Freely will be the analysts, and then Tiffany Blackman, the sideline reporter. So, and then BetMGM, updated as of today, the Broncos are still 4-point favorites, and the over-under is going to be 44 points total for this game. So, it's pretty realistic on the over-under there. I don't see the Broncos winning this thing by 4. I see the Raiders winning this game by 7. Let me know what you think, man. We'll come up with game predictions down as we go. We'll come up with more content. A vlog is coming today. Keep in mind, when you do see vlogs, there's going to be parental advisory on there because we're out in Vegas. We're running around. We're talking to people. And, you know, some foul language might come about. I do keep it civil. Everything's good. I don't exaggerate with cuss words. I don't force cuss words. They just pop out at certain times and certain people. You know, if you run into Elvis in Vegas, you might say something that's a little inappropriate to Elvis. So just bear with me on that. So when those things pop up, parental advisory, that means you've been advised. So keep an eye out for the vlog. They might pop up in shorts. They might pop up as a video. Who knows? But I thank you guys that subbed up the channel. I thank you guys that dropped a comment. Let me know what you're thinking leading up to this week. Are you pumped, man? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. We're 5 days away, man, from a Sunday morning where you're like waking up and stretching out and you're going, dude, I got a lot of energy today. What happened? You know, and on Sunday mornings, we're working with a delicious cup of coffee approved by the Wolf himself, man. The Wolf is on the scene to clean up the mess. He had to clean up Raider Dave's head. Hey, Raider Dave, don't be thinking negatively towards the Raiders. Get yourself a delicious cup of gourmet, and you're on your way, buddy. And that's the advice. That's the wisdom, man. So here we are, man. I hope your Sunday morning's good. Let's prepare for it. Let's prepare for it. Right around the corner, man. I'm pumped. Hey, if you have not yet, sub to the channel. If you are here right now, leave a comment, dude. Give me a bold prediction. Give me a bold prediction, or how about this, dude? Let me know, dude. Are you going to give Josh McDaniels a chance this year? I am, man. He's our coach. He's got my support. I want this guy to improve his coaching record. I want this guy to improve his reputation. I want him to do it as a Raider, man. Why not? Why not? You know, so that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you again. Much love, Raider Nation. Until next time, go Raiders, baby.